Hey you guys, it's Cayley. I'm here with another what sold from last week video. If you're new here, every week I like to come on and share what sold for me on the two sites that I sell on, eBay and Poshmark. So I do a breakdown into some of those numbers, and then I also show you some specific sales that you might want to look for while you're at your local thrift store to flip online for a profit. We're about to dive into the sales, but I'll just say last week was a record-breaking week for us, and we broke the record by like a whole mile, like not even a little bit. So previously, my broken record, how do I say this? Previously, the highest amount I've ever grossed in a week between those two platforms was right around 6,900 something. Can't remember the exact amount, but we almost broke 7,000. So for a while, our goal has been to get to 7,000 and over. And this week, we did it. It's been a lot of hard work. There have been definitely some ups and downs, but we've recently increased listings. I would say it's been a few weeks now, and hopefully gonna start seeing the benefit of that. I don't think it's hit quite yet. I think this is just like a week where sales kind of bumped because everybody was getting their tax refunds, but hopefully I'll be able to maintain this level for a while. Also looking to hire somebody and hoping to increase listings again very, very soon. But I'll keep you guys informed with that as it happens. For now, let's dive into those sales and let's see how much I made that broke that record.
All right, you guys, so we have a ton to go through. A ton. As you can see, I had a lot of sales. So I tried to pull some items that I knew weren't going to be like the same ones that I show every week, try to bring you guys something new. And I also tried to group some things together. So we'll get started on those individual items in just a moment. But from March 12th to March 18th, which was last week for me, a Sunday through a Saturday, we sold 289 items for a gross sales total of $7,971.56. I can't even believe it. That's crazy good. I am so happy with those numbers. I mentioned previously, but right before this, our highest that we'd ever grossed was 6,900 something. So to see almost not almost $8,000 higher, it's just such a crazy jump, and I'm so glad that all of the work we're putting in is starting to pay off. Average sale price with everything in total was $27.58. Estimated cost of goods based on an average buy cost was $1,156, making my estimated net, which I calculate my gross sales less cost of goods, fees, any shipping costs, and also any shipping discounts, ended up being $4,772. Got caught up there. On eBay, I sold 119 items. On Poshmark, I sold 170. We are still selling some like lower price items on Poshmark, but we're also selling a lot of higher priced items as well, and that average sale price is starting to come up. Gross sales on eBay were over $4,200 and they were over $3,700 on Poshmark. Pretty good on both platforms. Average sale price on eBay was $35.44. Average sale price on Poshmark was $22.08, which honestly I'm happy with because a few months ago, my average sale price was only like $15, if that. So it's really come up, and I think just getting those bad items out of my store, the ones that I purchased before I knew what I was doing, I think getting those out is really helping to take the dead weight out of both my eBay and Poshmark, and I think that's the reason for these great sales. So let's dive into some of these. We're going to start with eBay, and I am going to try to go kind of quickly because like I said, there is a lot that I wanted to show you. So this first one is an Elaine Fisher women's velvet tunic dress. Anything velvet and Elaine Fisher I find does really well. This is a size extra large, and it's also new with tags. I actually talked about this in one of my videos. I can't remember if it was a what sold or a thrift haul, but this was actually on a brand new rack that had just come out that like a bunch of resellers swarmed. I mean, probably like 10 people. And then I was very sad because I didn't get to it first and went to the rack just to kind of see if anybody had left anything behind. And I found this item, and I also found a Johnny Was new with tags kimono. Like, who leaves that stuff behind? I don't know, but I'm so happy. But that just goes to show just because other resellers are at a place or even at just a new rack, still worth going through because we all have different things that we're looking for. We all have different education on what we're buying. So definitely want to still go through stuff. Paid $4.89 for this. And I pick up everything Eileen Fisher, but this is like a ton of factor stacking that really increased the value. New tags, larger size, and velvet. This ended up selling for my full asking price of $124.92, and it took about a month to sell. Okay, there is a whole collection of these, so I'm going to go really quickly, but long story short, we've been picking up a lot of Ralph Lauren men's blazers / sport coats, and they've been performing really, really well. Some of these I picked up in regular thrift stores. Some of these, one of our sourcers at the time picked up at the bins. But all in all, I would say really no matter where you're at, if you can get it for a decent price, Ralph Lauren men's blazers perform extremely, extremely well as long as they're in good condition. So these 3 blazers, I've got a linen one, another linen one, and a wool one. The wool one's priced a little lower, and the linen ones were also new with tags found at the bins. So what would that be? Probably like $3 for each. And they ended up selling in a bundle to the same person, all 3 of those blazers, for a total of $239.79. Now this person did get basically a bundle discount on eBay and also some discounted shipping, so that did eat into my cost a little bit. But on average, less the shipping costs, they ended up selling for about $80-ish each on average. Crazy good profits. So you definitely want to keep your eye out for Ralph Lauren men's blazers. And if you're someone who used to be like me, like I used to never pick up blazers. I did not like selling them. I did not like listing them. Once I found out some brands that were worth it, it was really easy for me to just blow through that section and pick out any good pieces that I might find. And putting the work in now to list them, because you do, in my opinion, need to take a couple extra measurements for blazers, but putting that extra work in to get these kind of profits is totally worth it. I do try to not pick up anything that doesn't have a size tag on the inside, so that'd be a strategy that I would say. If you were someone wanting to get into blazers, don't pick up anything that doesn't have a size tag because they can be kind of hard to measure. So that was one, and that was one. And then I also sold this one to another buyer. This one was also picked up at the bins, and it ended up selling for a full asking price of $34.93. Not as high of profit as the other ones with those new tags linen blazers, but still really great profits, and they sold really quickly. And they took, I would say, about a week to sell. This is a brand you definitely want to look for in pretty much anything. It is Aviator Nation, and it doesn't usually say Aviator Nation. It usually has this logo right here, the AV. So you definitely want to keep your eye out for that. This has a very high sell-through rate and sells for really good money. I actually got this in a wholesale lot. We have somebody that sources for us in another state and sent us this item. I was so happy with it. For every item in that lot that I got, I paid an average of $5.47. That's my cost of good for that. These are just a pair of board shorts. They ended up selling for my full asking price of $64.93, and they took only a couple of weeks to sell. Super happy with that brand, and I would again pick up pretty much any kind of item in this brand. Next up is a pair of Rock Revival jeans. This brand has really slowed down for me, so I do have to be very careful, look up the style along with the size with these, but they're still a pretty decent menswear brand to sell. We paid $6.99 for these. They're really easy to spot. They're super embellished, and these were called the Fergus Relax Straight in a size 44, so all those things really help to increase value. We listed for $54.93. They took only a couple of weeks to sell, and they ended up selling on an offer to watcher for $46.69. The reason for the weird amounts is just because we sent a blanket like percentage off, so it just calculates it. Next up is a Lululemon. This is the only Lululemon item that I chose to show. We actually sold probably like a total of 3 or 4 Lululemon jackets this week. So activewear's definitely picking up. But I wanted to show you this one because if you're a new reseller and you don't know, Lululemon is really hyped up, but not all of their pieces sell for very much. So lately I've been focusing on the more substantial pieces like the jackets or some of those newer style pants that aren't necessarily leggings. This one was called the Lululemon Women's Define Luon jacket in a size 4. And we picked this up for $4.89 at a regular thrift store. We listed it for $59.93. And it did end up selling within about a week for our full asking price. So super happy with that sale. But if you're someone who's like, Lululemon's not moving for me anymore, I would definitely try to figure out what pieces are selling because it can be a very profitable brand if you know what to cut out and what to look for. This is another amazing brand. It is Flint & Tinder. I'm not going to go too much into detail on this, but as I've talked about it in like other thrift hauls and thrift with me's, but this is a brand that is sold on Huckberry, and pretty much anything on that Huckberry website I would look for, but especially Flint & Tinder. It is a very, very high sell-through rate brand. Pretty much anything in this brand is going to flip really quickly for you, and depending on what you have, you can get quite a bit for these pieces. This is a Flint & Tinder pair of men's charcoal gray straight fit pants. And I actually found these new with tags. I paid $4.89, listed for $49.93. They ended up selling for full asking price within a week of getting listed. It might even have been days of getting listed. We actually sold several of these this week, but I decided to just show you one because I thought that would be pretty redundant because they're just, gray pants, but definitely a brand worth looking for. Next up is a J. Jill piece. I pulled a couple J. Jill pieces. This is a really solid bread and butter brand for me, but I am kind of picky with what I get. Lately, I've actually been experimenting with some of the smaller sizes. Previously, we would only do like 1X and up. But there are some factors I'm starting to notice that still move even in smaller sizes. And because I come across this brand so often in so many sizes, I wanted to try and see if I was passing on maybe some profitable smaller sizes. So we've been kind of experimenting with that. This one, however, is a larger size. This is a size 2X women's 100% cashmere sweater, which, cashmere plus size J. Jill, which is a little bit more expensive retail brand. All those factors stacked are definitely going to increase value. Really beautiful blue color on this too. One of our sourcers picked this up for $10.99, which might seem like a lot for a J. Jill piece, but again, the factor stacking was there. We listed for $49.92, and we sent offers to watchers. It ended up selling for $42.43 within about a month and a half of listing. So really awesome sale there. And for me, cashmere is still selling. I have tried to be more picky with it. I'm not, unless it's something really, really good, not picking up wool, not picking up lamb's wool or some of the scratcher materials, but cashmere I'm still keeping a close eye on and still picking up some of those pieces. This is a very proud sale for me. This is a vintage Santa blow mold, light up thing. This actually came with the light that goes inside and the plug-in. However, in my opinion, it was so damaged, I was actually afraid to send it to a buyer because I thought, what if they plug it in and a fire happens, electrical fire or something happens? So it did not work anyways. So I actually ended up tossing that just because simply I did not want to send that damaged cord to a buyer. But we ended up selling just the blow mold, and it actually sold so fast. I was really surprised. I almost didn't pick this up because even though it is a rare bolo, it's past Christmas, so I didn't think anyone would be buying it very soon, but it sold very quickly. I was really surprised, and I'm just proud because I try every now and then to find some hard goods to list, and this is definitely one I'm going to be looking for in the future. So this one was really cool. It was definitely vintage, I believe. Yeah, 1974. Such a cool flip. Because I got rid of the cord and because it was not close to Christmas, I listed a little bit lower. Most of these were actually selling for $50 to $60 if you had the cord in working condition. So I priced mine a little bit lower. I think I paid around $5 for this. I can't remember exactly. I think it was around $5. We listed it for $39.93. It ended up selling within like a week of listing for an offer to watcher of $33.94. And this was also super, super easy to ship. We just threw it in a box with some padding and it was good to go. So definitely a hard good. If you guys are, clothing resellers and you've been following along my journey, we don't pick up a lot of hard goods, but I am trying to dabble in it a little bit and find those like really bolo pieces that are worth it. I think that this would be one to look for. Next up is a Southern Tide men's Nuba Tags shirt. This is a brand I don't come across very often, but one I'm going to keep my eye out for in the menswear department. This one was extra large, and again, it was Nuba Tags, so I think that is worth it, but I'll have to do some comps on some pre-owned ones soon. But a brand you might want to look for. Paid $4.89 for this. We listed for $46.92. It did take about a month and a half to sell, but it did sell for our full asking price, so might be one you want to keep an eye out for. Next up is one I got in a consignment clearance sale for $1. I only paid $1 for these pair of shoes. This is a pair of Allegria women's Paloma Jazzy Mary Jane shoes, and they were in pretty decent condition. These are really easy to spot because of their comfort sole, and Allegria in general is a brand that I enjoy selling. They seem to flip pretty easily for me. They don't sell as quickly as they used to, but I can usually get 35 to 50 depending on what they are. And because I got these for $1, I'm super happy with the profits. We listed for $34.93. Took only a couple of weeks to sell for our full asking price. So definitely want to keep your eye out for Allegria. Next up is something I got in wholesale. This is an All Saints women's Rafi leggings was the style. It is this legging skirt combo. I've actually found in a lot of brands that this is a pretty popular style. So if you come across in other brands, maybe take a look. I usually just search, like let's say it was Athleta. I'd probably just search Athleta skirt leggings and see what comes up. That's how I found these. But I got these in wholesale for $5.44. I listed for $37.92. They were all selling for about $40. And it ended up selling for my full asking price within about a month of getting it listed. So I'm super happy with that. All Saints is a brand that retails for a ton, but doesn't always have the best sell-through rate. So it's really only certain pieces, but this one was a really easy one for me to look up. And this particular style did have a good sell-through rate. This is another wholesale item that I got. I paid $5.26 for this. This is for Love and Lemons. If you guys find this brand, in my opinion, for me, it flips pretty quickly. I do think it's more popular on Poshmark, but this one actually sold on eBay for me. And what can I say about this brand? They make, in my opinion, they make like lingerie looking pieces, and they're well known for like their lingerie look dresses, in my opinion. That's what they're known for, and those are the pieces that sell best for me. So it might be a brand you want to look for. This is just a cut out mini dress. Again, I paid $5.26 for this. We listed for $39.92. It sold for our full asking price within a few weeks of getting it listed. Next up are a couple Talbots pieces like J. Jill. This is another brand that is a very strong bread and butter for us. I like picking up their blazers, especially in larger sizes. This one's kind of a mid-size. This is a Talbot's 14. It is a white linen blend polka dot one. We paid $5.47. I think we got this in wholesale as well. It ended up selling for an offer to watcher of $29.69. Talbot's blazers, I can usually average about about $35. However, this one was slightly smaller than the plus sizes I like to sell. So that's why I think it sold for a little bit lower, but it also only took a couple weeks to sell. So I will absolutely take those profits. Next up is another Talbots piece. This is a midi dress. In Talbots, dresses are also something I look for. And even in smaller sizes, the dresses seem to perform pretty well for us as long as they are a midi to maxi length. This is a just black printed midi dress. This is a size 6. We paid $4.89 for this. It ended up selling for $33.14. I honestly don't remember how long this took to sell, but still really good profits on that, and we're constantly picking up Talbot's dresses. This was another wholesale item, kind of like Lululemon and Free People. Anthropologie pieces are also something I'm pretty picky on these days, but one thing I do know that sells well in all of the Anthropologie brands is midi to maxi length dresses. So I'm always keeping my eye out for those. And if it's a brand within Anthropologie that I don't normally get, but it's a midi to maxi length dress, I almost always get it because they flip really well for me. This is one of those brands. I don't know how to pronounce it, Moulinet Source. This is one I don't get very often, and this one was actually missing its lining, so it's just like a sheer shell, but it is a maxi dress, and it was really pretty. A lot of geometric details, super flowy, size 6. We paid $5.38 for this, listed it for $29.93. Probably would have listed higher if I had the lining, but I didn't, so we listed at about $30. It only took a couple of weeks to sell, and it did sell for our full asking price, so might be something you want to keep your eye out for if you're someone who's currently passing on certain Anthropologie brands. Last one on eBay before we move on to Poshmark is this Ralph Lauren women's faux wrap dress. I try to pull a lot of spring pieces, guys. I try to skip all of the winter stuff that's selling for me and try to focus on some of the spring stuff. This is a classic, like great piece that sells in spring and summer for me. It is Ralph Lauren wrap dresses or faux wrap dresses. This one's also a larger size, which is really going to help to up the value. It is a size 14P. And this one is really pretty. This one is a shorter length. If you had a midi or a maxi, you could definitely get probably closer to $40 to $50 all day long for those. Since this was shorter length, we listed for $29.92. And it ended up selling for our full asking price within about a month of getting it listed. So definitely something to keep your eye out for. But even in the short ones, in this brand, we're still picking them up. So tend to be pretty quick flips and honestly really easy to list. Moving on to Poshmark, like I said, a lot of my sales on Poshmark were like clearanced out items, some older items that were moving at a low cost or a low price. But I did have some really good high price sales of stuff that is selling quickly within like a week to a month of getting it listed on there. So these are the items that I decided to show you. This was picked up by one of our sourcers at the time at the bin, so very low cost of goods. It is a Knox Rose women's dress in a size extra large. Knox Rose dresses perform very well for us. We try to stick to the longer lengths, the midi to maxi, and or the larger sizes, but this one still sold very quickly in a size extra large, even though it was short. I think because of the like tiered eyelet design, which is really popular right now. This one ended up selling for $23. This is also something you could look for as more bread and butter, but are quick flips. This is Melissa McCarthy collaborated with the brand 7 Jeans. 7 Jeans is like, I hardly ever pick up that brand, but the Melissa McCarthy line I do pick up, especially in plus sizes. This one's actually a smaller size in that line. It is a 14W pair of classic skinny jeans, and we picked these up for only $2, so low cost of goods. They ended up selling for $28, but we do flip those pretty often. And if you're someone who has completely just said no to 7 Jeans, this line with the Melissa McCarthy label does pretty good. Next up is another bread and butter that I've been sharing with you guys and performing really well. It is Democracy Jeans, but it's got to have the ab technology. So you have to see that AB there. These are a size 8. Larger sizes definitely do better, but these still sold for $25 very, very quickly, and we only paid $3.99. So definitely one you want to keep your eye out for. This is a G-Star Raw Elwood 3D taper jeans. I am unsure. I can't remember. I don't believe that in general, everything G-Star Raw jeans do well. I think it was just this particular design that was a little bit more rare, but they do have some more rare pieces that you might want to keep your eye out for. You can see this is a very interesting pair of jeans. We paid $5.99 for these. They sold for $45, but again, might be one you want to keep your eye out for. This is along the same lines as, the Anthropologie dresses. Madewell is also something that I tend to steer away from these days unless it's in certain categories or certain factors are present. This was one of those pickups where certain factors were present. This is a midi dress. It was new with tags, and it was just like a very dainty, I would almost say cottagecore print. So, a lot of factor stacking there, but did decide to get this one. We paid $4.89 for it, and it sold for $40, and it again is just a very dainty floral print midi dress. Next up is a Patagonia women's skirt. I found this new with tags at a thrift store. Was super happy with that. It's called the Kamala Maxi skirt, and I paid $4.89 for it. It sold for $50. These next two pieces are both flax. This is a brand, when you look it up, doesn't always have 100% sell-through rate, but I've sold this brand for years. It always performs well for me, so I continue to pick it up in just about anything, but definitely the more substantial pieces are where it's at. This is a pair of linen pants, size large, and they're also wide leg. This is a very minimalistic, hippie, login look kind of brand, so those are the pieces you want to look for. I paid $4.99. These sold very quickly for an offer of $28. And I also sold this flax piece. This is a size small midi dress, very pretty dress. These ones were performing very well. I got this one in a wholesale order for $5.47, and this one sold for $55. These next two pieces are both the same brand. They are Figs. This is the Technical Collection scrub pant. These were actually a size extra, extra small. To my surprise, they sold very, very quickly. Figs is a brand in the scrub section that still has a really good sell-through rate. However, definitely does not sell for as much as it used to. Usually you're looking at like $15 all the way up to $25, sometimes more if it's rare. But a brand I still like to get because I know it's going to be a very quick $20 to $25 flip. So I got this one in a wholesale lot for $5.38. It ended up selling very quickly for $25. And this is one we picked up at a thrift store for $4.89. This one sold for $22, and this is, I guess they were called the Livingston scrub pant. This is another wholesale item. I paid $5.47 for this. This is Vuori. This is like one of my favorite activewear brands right now. I would definitely keep your eye out for Vuori. They're kind of like Lululemon, where this tag is not attached very often. I'm trying to see if I can find the logo for you. It's right here, but I can't zoom in. But it's basically a V. So like Lululemon, you want to look for those logos in case the rip tag isn't there, but Vuori is an excellent brand. I pick up Vuori in everything. Men's, women's, doesn't matter. It always flips super quick for me. These ones were called the Vuori Men's Rise and Shine Aim Shorts, and they sold for $42. $42 for a pair of pre-owned shorts. That's so good. So definitely keep your eye out for Vuori. Next up is a wholesale item that I definitely would not have known to pick up. So that's one of the great things lately about buying stuff from other people, other resellers, is that I'm learning a bunch of new brands that I don't have the opportunity in my area to get, that I can share with you. So this is a bra brand that I would definitely keep your eye out for. It is, I think it's just pronounced cup, but it's CUUP. Really great bra brand. I mean, like, I would pay full price at a thrift store to flip these. Great sell-through rate and really cute items for really good return on investment. So this is called the Plunge Bra in a 36D. You can see it's just a sheer mustard yellow bra. Again, I paid $5.38 and it sold for $28. $28 for a pre-owned bra. That is really, really good. I love selling bras. They are so easy to list and all of the information is usually right there on the tag. So for me, sometimes it's worth it to get items just to get the listing up super fast, and bras is definitely one of those categories. So definitely keep your eye out for CUUP. Next up is a factor stacking item. I'll explain factor stacking a little bit because I've gotten a lot of comments about it, but it's basically just the act of getting something that you wouldn't probably normally get, a brand you wouldn't normally get, but because there are so many factors there, you're able to stack sellable features in order to get it and sell it for a decent profit. So this is a Charter Club item, not a brand I normally get. However, it was extra large, so larger size. It was cashmere and it was a cool tie-dye print. So for all of those reasons, we got this item. We paid $4.89 and it sold for $25. This is a wholesale item. I paid $5.38 for it. It flipped very quickly for $25. This is a brand Chubbies, and in spring and summer, you definitely want to keep your eye out for this brand. It used to be a lot more popular, meaning it used to sell for a lot more, but in my opinion, the sell-through rate's still there. It just usually flips for about $25 now, but I'm still going to keep my eye out for it. These are called the Men's Skies Out, Thighs Out 5.5 inch inseam shorts. One thing I will say about this brand is that the shorts sometimes can be hard to differentiate. Are they men's or are they women's? But I will tell you that this brand makes very short shorts for men. That's kind of like what they're known for. So just make sure you're aware of that going into listing one of these items. Next up is an item I believe I got in wholesale. I'm pretty sure I did. I paid $6.75. No. Yes, I think so. I honestly can't remember. I did pay $6.75, but I can't remember if it was a thrift store or wholesale. But this is a Ralph Lauren unique piece, and I'm always looking for unique pieces in Ralph Lauren and any of its lines. This is a size 10 jacket, and it has like Matador vibes, military vibes. It was new with tags. It is that classic navy blue color. I think all of those things really helped to pull it through. Got really great feedback from the buyer on this. We sold it for $75. A lot of times Ralph Lauren jackets or Ralph Lauren jackets, if they are unique enough, can actually go for big money. Next up is one of my favorite brands to sell. This is definitely a bolo. It is American Giant. I do really well in both men's and women's in this brand. Even their t-shirts sell very quickly for $20 to $25. So when you have a more substantial piece, you get a lot more profits. This is a pair of American Giant men's jogger sweatpants, and they were also a size extra large. This brand is pretty, in my opinion, like minimalistic, but they make heavy duty items. So when you touch it, it's pretty easy to spot because it's very thick material. Almost reminds me of Duluth in a way, very like rugged, but very minimalist. I paid $4.89 for this at a thrift store. It sold very quickly for $46. Next up is another pair of comfort shoes. These are very similar to Allegria's. They are Danskos. In my opinion, Danskos perform a little bit better than Allegria's. These were a size 40 pair of, the style was called Fauna shoes. And we paid $4.89. They sold for $60. I have very good luck with Danskos. One suggestion I have on this brand is to figure out what the actual style name is. You can do the same thing with Allegria's. You can actually pretty much do it with any shoe, but using Google Lens to just snap a quick photo brings up the style name so quickly, and then you're able to do a comp from there to make sure you get all the money and make sure you're not underpricing yourself. This is a brand that you definitely want to look for. I also got this in wholesale. I don't come across this brand very often, but if you live out west or in the south, you might come across this brand more than I would. But it is called The Great, and their sweatshirts perform really, really well. So I would keep your eye out for this brand for sure. The sweatshirt, if I were just looking at it, I probably would not be able to tell, to be honest with you, that it was a higher brand. But I do know that this label, So I got this for $5.47. It sold for $34, and some of their sweatshirts go for much, much more than that. This one, in my opinion, was a less desirable style, but still sold for good money. And I grouped together a couple of graphic t-shirts that I got. I do like picking up graphic t-shirts. I am very picky. This is the brand Arula. I've never heard of this brand before, but the top itself felt super substantial. Girls, guys, you know, like graphic t-shirts, there's just a certain feel to some of them that like you can tell they're higher quality. This was one of those pieces. So this is an Arula women's Raised on Dolly t-shirt, and I just thought this was a really cool graphic, and like I said, it felt very, very substantial. I paid $4.29. This one I priced it kind of high. I think I priced it around $40 originally. It did take a while to sell. It ended up selling on an offer for $25. I still made some good money on it, but looking back, I probably should have priced it a little bit lower. This is also a t-shirt. This is just a modern t-shirt. Breaking Benjamin, but it was a size large, and Breaking Benjamin graphic t-shirts are actually performing pretty well. I paid $4.89. This one sold for $30 on Posh. Here's another Ralph Lauren blazer. I won't bore you with it because we've shown a lot, but it is a 100% wool navy blue blazer, 50 long. 50 long is a larger size, so that helped to up the value. I paid $6. It sold for $49. Next up is a J. Jill Love linen dress, and this is an example of something that is a smaller size but is performing well for me, are their Love linen dresses, especially with a print like this. I got this in wholesale. I paid $5.44. It sold for $29. And next up is a Pure Jill women's cowl neck top, again with a J. Jill piece. This is a size medium, but it was new with tags, and it was part of that Pure Jill line, which for me performs pretty good. This was picked up at the bins, and it sold for $34. This is a Tommy Bahama women's Giraffe Geo. It was new with tags, so we had the style name Giraffe Geo velvet top. Honestly, I try really hard not to pick up this small of a size. This was an extra small. That's a very hard sale sometimes, but this top was gorgeous. It was like that velvety burnout look, which in my opinion always sells very quickly, and it was new with tags. So we took a chance on it. We paid $4.89. It sold for $51. So I am glad that we picked that up. But just kind of not necessarily the brand, but a style you want to look for are these like velvety burnout tops. All right, this next one, I am very proud of the sale. This was an awesome sale. This is a Banana Republic women's leather aviator jacket. And if you guys didn't know, aviator jackets are performing really, really well right now. I think after the Top Gun Maverick came out, it just like, it really set this back into style. So I've been keeping my eye out for it. You can identify an aviator jacket with like, typically they're leather with like a fur collar or a contrast collar at least, but usually it's fur. Usually they're bomber though. This one was not a bomber. However, I still thought it had that aviator look. So I did pick it up, and Banana Republic in general in leather goods can actually be a good thing to look for. And let's see here. I'm actually having to look this up because for some reason these last 4 items I forgot to check how much I sold them for. I paid $8.99 for this aviator jacket, and it ended up selling for $120 on Poshmark. Like, crazy good sale, all based on style. Definitely want to keep your eye out for aviator jackets. All right, next up is a Ming Wong sleeveless knit tank top. This is a brand I would definitely keep your eye out for. This is kind of similar to Joseph Ribkoff and some other brands that I pick up regardless of sell-through rate. This brand retails for so much that no matter what, I usually get it, and it's got a decent enough sell-through rate that I can usually pull the sale through, and I kind of ignore comps, or at least sell-through rate, and it always sells for me. So this is just a sleeveless knit tank top. This is a pink new with tags knit sweater tank. I don't see retail value on this one. However, it probably retailed for like $85 to over $100. And I paid $4.29 for this. It ended up selling for $37 on Poshmark. Again, I pick up pretty much everything in this brand. They're really well known for their knit pieces. They're kind of like St. John in a way, and they do really, really well. Next up is a Hoka One One pair of shoes. I pick up everything in this brand, except if it's like completely destroyed. But you guys have been telling me if it's missing insoles, or sometimes even if the tread's in a little bit bad of condition, people still buy them. So I am just keeping my eye out for that. One thing I do like about this brand is they always have the style name like right here or on the tongue, so it's super easy to look up. And typically they have over 100% sell-through rate. There was a little bit of light wear throughout the sole, but otherwise they're in really great condition. I'm trying to see if I could find, here we go. Yeah, so the brand name is usually right here or somewhere on the outside of the shoe. And the sole is pretty easy to identify because it's got a thick, chunky sole. So definitely want to keep your eye out for those. I only paid $4.99 for these. They sold very quickly for $51. Most of the time my thrift stores know what this brand is now, so they're pricing them really high up. Like, I'm talking like anywhere from $25 to $50. So if you can find a good deal on them, definitely snatch those up. And lastly is, everyone always gets on to me for how I pronounce it. I feel like it's Fairty, but honestly, it is what it is. It's this brand. I pick up everything in this brand, men's, women's. It performs really well. Definitely the men's are going to do 10 times better than the women's as far as sell-through rate, but the women's sell-through rate is still pretty good. So again, I get everything. I found this new with tags. Their polos perform really well for me, and this one is especially good because it is the sun-washed organic cotton polo. It retailed for $98, and these are so popular that I listed for very close to the retail value. I was so confident in this brand, I actually paid way up for this. I paid $19.99, you guys. $20 for this polo. I think we listed at $85. It ended up selling for $75 on Poshmark. So 20 into 75 are still really great profits. But when you start to pay up for a brand, you definitely need to know that the sell-through rate is really, really high. And that was the case with this brand. I would definitely keep your eye out for this brand.
Alright guys, so that's it for What Sold Last Week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you haven't already and you would like to, don't forget to subscribe down below and hit the notification bell. If you do that, you'll be notified every single time I post these videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.